Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking a concept that completely flips the script on how we think about getting healthy. Normally we view health as this massive individual challenge, right? We think it all comes down to our own grit, our personal willpower, and just sheer discipline. But what if the real secret to healthy living is actually less about what's inside you and a whole lot more about who is right beside you?
Picture this. It's day one of your brand new health journey. You've decided that starting right now, you're going to eat better. You're cooking your own meals, you're drinking a ton of water, you're going for a walk every single evening. Sounds incredibly simple on paper, doesn't it? But then, life actually happens. You get exhausted after a long day at work, that unhealthy takeaway spot is literally closer to your house than the grocery store, your friends all decide to order burgers at the restaurant, and you just kind of tell yourself, okay, well, just this once. Look, we've all been there. It is such a relatable struggle.
Okay, so let's hit pause for a second and completely reframe this problem. Because getting healthy usually isn't hard because you don't know what to do. I mean, you already know an apple is better for you than a candy bar, right? So the failure isn't a lack of knowledge. The actual barrier here is consistency. And consistency is incredibly difficult, I'd argue almost impossible for a lot of us when we're walking that journey entirely by ourselves. So you can go ahead and remove the guilt right now. The deck is completely stacked against you when you go solo.
And that brings us perfectly to the core thesis of our explainer today. The source material puts it like this. Sometimes the biggest difference between giving up and keeping going is simply having someone beside you. A shared environment isn't just a nice little bonus. It's actually the ultimate life hack for long-term health.
Part 1. Changing your normal. The friend who changed everything. To really get how this works in practice, let's look at this great personal anecdote from our source text about the author living with a really close friend. Now, this friend had already fully embraced a healthy lifestyle, while the author was pretty new to the whole thing. And what happened next is fascinating. The friend didn't constantly lecture them about health. They didn't enforce some strict list of forbidden foods or act like a drill sergeant. They simply lived it. And because they were just constantly modeling that behavior, the author found themselves organically joining in. Their entire definition of what was normal just began to shift without them even realizing it.
Look at the crazy contrast and friction here. When you're going solo, the unhealthy option is basically undefeated on convenience. It's cheaper, it's faster, it's right around the corner. But when the author was doing this with their friend, they actually found themselves walking long distances just to get to a healthier restaurant. Honestly, sometimes it even cost a little more. But walking that extra distance suddenly didn't feel difficult. It didn't feel like a sacrifice anymore, simply because they weren't making that harder choice alone.
As this shared environment really took root, this really cool natural momentum developed. A healthy, completely unpressured kind of competition emerged between them. It was like, who's going to suggest the evening walk first? Who's ready for another activity? It wasn't about trying to win or beat the other person. It was just about making it easier for each other to choose well. Before long, eating smaller portions or dropping fizzy drinks just became their new automatic normal. Those ordinary daily choices, because they were made together, turned into habits that lasted for years.
Part 2. The science of community. Why environments beat discipline. Now, this wasn't just one person's lucky experience with a good roommate. Empirical research points to 4 massive reasons why healthy communities work so effectively. First, healthy habits are literally contagious through our social networks. Second, accountability just makes consistency easier. Third, community massively reduces decision fatigue. And fourth, encouragement builds the confidence you actually need to bounce back from setbacks.
I really want to double-click on that third point for a second. Decision fatigue. Making healthy choices entirely on your own requires a massive amount of daily cognitive energy. Every single day, you are swimming upstream against a current of pure convenience. I mean, think about the mental gymnastics you do every day. Should I cook? Should I work out? Maybe I'll just order takeaway. Should I buy the healthier option? When you're alone, you have to actively fight to make the right choice every single time. But when your community, the people around you, are making good choices, health just becomes the default rather than the exception. You stop having to consciously decide to be healthy. You just follow the flow of the room.
And then there's accountability. Honestly, we usually think of accountability as this heavy pressure or a guilt trip, but we need to totally redefine it. Have you ever skipped a morning walk just because no one was expecting you to show up? Of course you have. Now imagine someone is standing outside your house, literally waiting for you. Suddenly, staying in bed is the harder choice. Accountability isn't pressure, it is pure encouragement. Knowing someone else is on that journey with you makes it incredibly easy to restart after a bad day.
Part 3. The ripple effect. How small actions scale massively. Here is where it gets incredibly cool. This momentum doesn't stop with just 2 people. It creates what the source calls the ripple effect. Let's look at how this scales. Step 1. One friend inspires one healthier choice, like joining a walking group. Step 2, that single choice becomes a healthier habit, and hey, maybe their spouse joins in. Step 3, one changed life inspires another. Suddenly, the neighbors notice. Step 4, healthy people build healthy families. And finally, Step 5, a whole workplace starts a walking club, and those healthy families build healthy communities. It scales massively, growing one relationship at a time, all starting from just a single invitation.
Part 4. Your next better choice. Building your environment.
All right, so this brings us to the real climax of today's explainer. How do we actually take this science, this ripple effect, and apply it to our own lives starting today? Well, first, we have to absolutely shatter the myth of pure discipline. We constantly look up to people who seem to have this superhuman willpower, and we assume they're just built differently. But maybe discipline isn't the whole story. Highly disciplined people simply built the right environment. They found the right people. They realized that your habits are always going to mirror your environment, so they curated a community where balance, movement, and good nutrition are simply normal.
So this source material lays out this brilliantly low-friction challenge for you this week. Here it is. Whatever you do, do not start your next healthy habit alone. Instead, go find just one person who shares your desire to live a healthier life. Give them a call and just go for a walk together. Maybe prepare just one healthy meal together, and then just check in with each other once this week. Because by doing this, you aren't just making better choices. You are building the exact relationships that make those choices easier to keep making.
Because, as we've seen today, consistency is the real hurdle. And doing it all by yourself just makes that hurdle ridiculously high. But we've also seen how effortlessly our habits change when we actually share them with someone else. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought to take away today. If health truly grows best in community, who are you going for a walk with tomorrow?